This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
So my answer to going to college was join the Army. 1992, my life changed forever. PCS to Germany with my two boys and really try to take advantage of the opportunity to travel, learn another language, the culture. It was to me the dream coming true, that everything that I'd been going through was worth it, because I was seeing another part of the world that I wouldn't have had the opportunity if I hadn't been in the military. Planned on getting out in 2000. That was really kind of a part of a joy in my life, and getting married for the second time. And I looked forward to the future. Ended up kind of becoming disillusioned. And that was the whole housing bubble thing, where the mortgage jumped from bank to bank to bank. My kids were counting on me to take care of them, to ask for that kind of help. I've done to help other women is make sure that they know what their resources are. It's for a long time I didn't understand that my service in the military counted as a woman veteran, but nobody told me, hey Eva, you're a veteran too, until I had that light bulb moment and said, my service counted too. And I can tell you it's been a long road to learn how to dream again. The community was the solution, be it churches, be it nonprofits, be it veteran service organizations, or just people like myself. We are the resources. We are the solution to help keeping women off of the street, our women veterans housed and having the resources they need and not living in a car. Of the work that grows us as leaders for our second service after the military to serve other people in our communities. Hi, everybody. I am very honored to be back behind the camera again. You know, I hope y'all missed me. I missed you guys, but I had an adventure to go on, and boy, howdy, it was a really good adventure. So, what is this? Welcome to the From Pain to Purpose show. My name is Eva Fulton, and I'm your hostess. And today is Saturday, March 29th, the year of our Lord, 2025. And man, it has been an incredible couple of weeks. I missed being, here with you guys, but I think it was very well worth the break away. So in case you guys don't know, I not only work full time, but I am a PhD student, And before I could go on this trip that I'm going to talk about, I had finished my last class before I start moving into my dissertation. So this was kind of like a bit of a celebration, and really just uh, uh, that break and my birthday, because I had my birthday on the trip too on the 20th. And hopefully a lot of y'all saw the videos that I had posted, and I really appreciate all of the very sincere and deep deep blessings. I don't know what else to call the birthday blessings that you all sent me. I that was phenomenal for you guys to send those to me. It carried me over the mountains. It carried me through the challenges that I was going through, way more than what I was talking about. And, I thought that that would be a good way for us to do a, kind of a post Camino recap on what was going on, and I had somebody post, somebody sent me a message and said, Eva, you are your show. Um, I've had a lot of people post that I'm an inspiration, and I don't take that lightly. I really take it that if I can put one foot in front of the other, you can too. And if y'all, if you tuned in time and you saw the intro to my show, the car wreck was that happened on my birthday, March 20th, 1992. So I survived going to Desert Storm, and it, ended up really being almost killed on my birthday, my 22nd birthday at Fort Stewart, Georgia. And it's been a journey ever since. And don't take I don't take any of the days that we experience lightly at all, because when you come to grips with, an event like that, it changes, your thinking. So, even the name of my show, From Pain to Purpose, I don't take that lightly. I have turned the different types of pain that we all can experience. The physical is the most obvious, right? There's physical, there's emotional, there is mental. There is a mental pain that goes with this too, because your mind says, I'm tired of being in pain. So your brain is in pain as well, because it wears you out. Anybody that's gone through pain, if they've said they're tired of the pain, it wears on you. So there's that aspect, but there's also a spiritual pain as well. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that has drawn me to hiking on the Camino de Santiago. Silly me, I say silly me, but going through COVID, I watched a whole variety of different types of shows, and I happened to see this movie called The Way. It's stars with Martin Sheen and his son Emilio Estevez. Produced it. Yep, Jose says I can relate to both pains. I bet you can, Jose, because I've seen you walk around at work too. So, um, you know, but if you ever get a chance to watch the movie The Way, hopefully, you'll see that it, that story was a whole different journey for sure. Um, and it was not a journey that this gentleman had expected to go on when he went. But I saw the landscape, and I was like, I want to do that. There's another series that I had seen, I think on Netflix or one of those, called Three Caminos. And so last year, I had five ladies join me.
3 of us were veterans, the other 3 were not. One was turning 75 last year, 2 of them were turning 70. Last year I was 56. Uh, so I was 56. I turned 57 on the trail this year. And gosh, that sounds old, but I don't feel old, you know? And then we had somebody that was 54. So we had 2 of us in the Army represented and 1 in the Marines last year. And it was a great trip last year, but you know, when you're in a group dynamic, it's kind of a little different than going on a trip by yourself. And this is definitely, I think, one of those trips that if you ever want to adventure out and go do a solo trip, I don't care whether you're young or whether you're old, whether you're male or whether you're female or in between, or you're lost and you need to take a break. I'm going to get into some of the dynamics of, what that all means. But I'm going to go ahead and pop up. Let's see if I can pop up. I'm trying to go ahead and pop up. Let's see. I didn't want that one first. That was at the end. I'm trying to get. Why is it out of order? I want this one. There we go. Here we go. I found it. Hey, so this is a big map of the Camino de Santiago. And all roads, they'll say, and you'll hear it plenty of times, all roads lead to Santiago. So what are all of these routes? Open up the Bible and you'll see, remember Galatians, right? The book of Galatians. This area up here is Galicia. And this was the way of St. James. So all of these peregrines, we are peregrines. I'm just defining you. If you're a pilgrim, the Spanish word is peregrine. And this this is the Camino Frances, this green line. I didn't start at Saint Jean Pied de Port. I can't say that one. I started around this area because I wanted to, and I'll show it when we come back from a break. It's already 6:12. I started in Astorga. I stayed overnight at a really nice hotel because I knew that I needed the rest to get on the trail. I'll back up. I landed in Madrid and I took a bus to Astorga. And then the next morning, I took a taxi to Foncedon. And that is a little ahead of where you see in the movie the big iron cross. And I'll pop that picture up. Let's see if I can get it. Yep. Nope. Wrong one. Those are barnacles. Those are different. Why is this? Here we go. Here, this is the iron. This is the iron cross, and people have been bringing these rocks for a very long time. They bring prayers. All the prayers that I had asked for before I left off for the trip. This is where I brought the prayers, and it was for me, it was a very emotional moment. And it happened to be snowing to get up there to that area. So I would have rather had snow the whole trip, but I went from snow and had 4 days of rain. So it was not super fun those last the bulk of the days. But anyway, so this is the Iron Cross. This is what you can see in the movie, the way. But when you're hiking up to it, I have so many pictures. I'll probably have to, do day 1, day 2 kind of thing, and put some video to it, but it was just very, a phenomenal journey just even getting there. All right, so sorry about that. Hopefully you guys are still there. It still shows it as recording. Let me go ahead and play a video, some music, and I'll be right back.
This is Who You Are by Barbara Sim. There's a story in every one of us, not one of them the same. There's something about the human heart, these hearts, they can't be tamed. There's something wild in us all, something stirring and untamed, like the flicker of a growing flame, casting light in our own name. Let it shine, let it shine, let it show just who you are. Let it shine, let it shine. Don't be ashamed of where you are. Like the storyline of a book, we all have to start somewhere. There's a challenge, something to overcome, something to make us turn the page. Every chapter, every line, there's a purpose every time. All the bad and all the good makes you exactly you. Let it shine, let it shine, let it show just who you are. Let it shine, let it shine. Don't be ashamed of where you are. So let it shine, let it shine, let it show just who you are. Let it shine, let it shine. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Shine bright, shine bright. Show the world just who you are. Shine bright, shine bright. Be exactly who you are. Be exactly who you are.
Wow, isn't that incredible? And I picked that song just because I knew that oh no, all of the pictures that I had pulled up before when I popped out, I lost them all. Oh no. Oh no. Well, I sorry, I don't know how that all had happened. It had popped out. But I'll go ahead and go back to the map part of it. So you there is a Portugal route that goes along up here by the coastline. That's probably a route that I'll probably take my daughter with me next year. She's been, I think she's finally convinced that she wants to go as well. But I've got to get her a new pack because the pack I bought her last year, I took it over and I added, hopefully I can see. I added some, I don't know if you can see. I added some of my military patches on there. So I'm well marked on the trail. This is a Gregory Zulu 40. If anybody's looking at, trying to start getting some equipment, I decided I would bring some equipment and show you guys just some things to get. And I'll show those in a minute. So there's a lot of routes. You can probably do some research, and there are Camino routes up in Germany and the UK. And what is all of this? What was all of this? You got to think about, and just even reading the Bible, people traveled typically on foot, by horse or wagon, but people were always walking everywhere, weren't they? And these were literally the trails that people have been walking on for centuries, right? Literally centuries. I was in the Galicia area and, part of Lugo. There are a lot of people, if you're limited on time, like we were last year, that they go ahead and go start in Saria. That's in this area right here. It's really the last 100 kilometers that they are counting for you to get the stamps on your, it's a little passport thing, and I didn't bring it in here. I'll get it during the break and bring it in here and show you guys. But the whole goal is when you get to Santiago, you get your you get your Compostela, you get your little certificate that says, hey, you did this, and you don't have to start only in Syria. You could start way up here, and let's say, this year you do this section, for instance, the next year you do this section. You could build it year after year after year. There are some people who started SJPP. That's how everybody abbreviates it, SJPP. And, you could do it in, I think the fastest I've seen people post is about 33 days. But if you have time to kill and you want to, spread it out, as long as you're within the limitations, I believe it's 90 days of being in country, then, that would be your limitation. So where do you stay? You've got options. So you can't do the tent camping like you can on the Appalachian Trail here in the States. There may be some places where you could do some tent camping, but it's very limited. And a lot of people tend to either, there are different ways to do it. You can book your own, and booking.com is a website that I use to book. There are other options out there, but booking.com was really good. And I'd stay in the albergues sometimes, or the other word is hostels, HOSTELS, albergues. And they're really kind of co-ed dorm rooms. Could be somebody's house, could be a municipal albergue. It's about 17 euros a night. So, or was it $17? You get mixed up, euros, dollars sometimes. But it was very affordable if you're doing that. I stayed in 3 different hotels, one in Astorga, right there in front of, that was Hotel Gaudi, I think is the name of it, right across the street from Astorga Cathedral. And then I stayed in Hotel Marine. I stayed at a hotel, the same hotel that we stayed in last year as the group. And then I stayed at a hotel in Santiago, and Libradon is the name of that one, and it was beautiful. I got kudos on my Spanish. I felt very empowered with my Spanish and my pronunciation. I'm glad I took French class in high school and in college. So let's see. So, you've got options on how you want to manage doing this. Like I said, I saw husband and wives going. I saw father, son, mother, daughter, sisters, best friends, people by themselves. It was really pretty cool. Germany, Australia, France, Singapore, Malaysia, Uruguay, where else? Oh, Korea. And I have a neat experience with a lady that I hiked with for a day from Korea. So her only two words that she could speak were thank you and okay in English. But we had a very humanitarian. I don't know if I have a better way of saying it. It was a very human. Um, I don't know how to. It was a walk of silence between the two of us, but we developed this bond walking that I don't know that I've ever experienced before. And it was really very sweet and endearing that we could communicate with the sign language. And she pointed on the back of her pack. She needed some water. I got the water for her. And we were going up this hill. I swear it was like 75 degrees, and we would stop at the same time. We just kind of look at each other, yep, ready to stop. And we would stop on the way back down because you can't walk too fast going down because you're gonna tumble down. We're I had more weight on my pack than she had. She had a day pack. And we stopped for coffee, but it was raining like practically the whole time. And we got to this point after we had had our coffee going through this one town, and it started raining again. So I had on my baseball cap and my black beanie, and my sweatshirt had a hood over it, and my poncho, of course. And I had my gloves on, and I couldn't tie the poncho. And she came over like a mama, and it was just so sweet. She tied my poncho and kept the water from running in and drenching me from there. But it was just a super neat human experience. I don't know if I've ever had an experience quite like that before. It just, when we parted ways, we gave each other a hug, and I kept wishing I would see her the rest of the trip, but I didn't get to see her. Her name was Mariana. Coincidentally, the same day, I met a new friend at the very in the morning, and then later in the evening, and her name was Marianne from California. So shout out to Marianne. Hopefully, you are watching this. And we had discussed when we had ate coffee. Well, we ate pizza that night, and how ironic that I met two Mariannes, and you and Robin have a friend named Eva. I was like, who can make this stuff up? So it was just really, just that day was probably the most special day on communicating, but not verbally. I mean, that was like the weird thing. And I think that's the joy of what I find in growing our people garden is that we make these connections, and it can cross, you know it crosses the language barrier, that I would only hope that we could get more in touch with as a country, as a world, and growing our people garden. That we can do lots of great communication, and smiles go a long way. So anywho, let me go ahead and go into another commercial, and I'm going to go get the Compostela out of my room and show you guys what that looks like, okay?
Join Military Broadcast Radio and Fairway Travel for the 2025 Veterans Day Cruise aboard Carnival Vista. We will embark on a 6-day Eastern Caribbean cruise November 9th through 15th from Port Canaveral. Are you ready to relax, explore, celebrate? This is a voyage you don't want to miss. Destinations include Amber Cove, Half Moon Cay, and the all-new Celebration Key. Delight in the Dominican Republic's Amber Cove with stunning beaches and island vibes. Enjoy Half Moon Cay, known as a private Bahamian paradise. And finally, a day at Celebration Key, Carnival Cruise Line's exclusive new getaway. Honor the heroes in your life with an unforgettable cruise experience this Veterans Day at Sea. Fairway Travel will handle all the planning so you can focus on making memories. Call Fairway today, 228-365-3480, or email fonda@fairwaytravel.com or red@mbradio.us.
Oops, I'm here. Cancel. All right, so I managed to go get it. Let me see if I can go ahead and, nope, I want me. All right, so when you're on the Camino and you have to go get mine's all rolled up because I had it in this this little protector thing. So this is your little passport that you're gonna get. Why does it do this? Here we go. Camino de Santiago. So you're gonna get this little passport thing, and there's a map in there. You kind of give some history. You're gonna put your name in there, and then you're gonna stop at your hotel, at the albergue or coffee shops, restaurants, whatever. You're gonna collect these stamps, and it's important to get to each day on at least the last 100 kilometers. So make sure you get your stamps, because when you get to Santiago, you want to go check in and get your Compostela, and it's in Latin. It's not Spanish. It's all in Latin. I don't know that I could read it, but I thought it was interesting. You actually type in your name, and of course, my name is Eva, EVA, or Eva, and they put an M on the end, and they did the same thing last year too. So don't think that there's a typo. I don't know what it is about the Spanish side of things in Spain that they put an M on there. So I don't know. Sometimes, some of these things are just above my pay grade, and it's not for me to question. I know it wasn't a typo because I typed my name in. So I brought, now pain's a big thing. I mentioned that at the beginning. Probably the first type of pain that people feel are going to be on their feet. I like using toe stocks. These are not the Injinji. I do have some Injinji toe socks, but these I really like. They're a good height, ankle height, and I have some covers that I also wear with my hiking shoes because I don't like getting pebbles. I don't know about you, but I don't like pebbles getting down in my shoes. But I like the toe socks because I don't get blisters on my feet. Have not gotten one yet. Almost got one this time, but that was because of the rain. And I took some special rain socks that I used with my hiking shoes, and they worked wonders. My feet did not get cold and wet. So, hook me up, if y'all are interested in where I got them. Most of my stuff I get from Amazon. Um, my other dependable item are my hiking poles. I'm going to talk about poles versus a cane. I have a cane out in my truck. I have always despised using a cane. And people look at you funny. I've used a cane since I, obviously was young because of the car wreck. And that car wreck, I had 3 pelvic fractures, 2 knee fractures on my left knee, 2 ankle fractures, and it messed up my back. Y'all know that I broke my back twice, a compression fracture in the lumbar area in 2022. That was when the Texas ice storm happened. So that February and then that December, I had plantar fasciitis in 2020, 21, 2022. And I even had foot surgery for the plantar fasciitis. Pain has been a big deal. Physical pain has been a big deal for most of my life since I was 22 years old. I mean, I'd already gone through basic and AIT, had already gone through, war, and that car wreck happened, and I have been living through pain since I was 22. And I've always had this mental thing. I do not like using a cane. Hiking pole is a different thing. And I don't, it's to me it is, and I use both of them. I don't I and I'm going to talk about the evolution on my experience using the cane on the Camino. So, when they're all out and, I'm hiking, uh, uphill is a different, way of holding it. I like putting my hand underneath and holding it. I you know, I'm alternating, of course, going up, and but I hold it differently going down. So going downhill, it's like I'm kind of like I don't know, the best way I've learned how to describe it is like being a spider, and I've got 4 legs instead of 2 legs. So I had the stability that I need for my knees and for my hips and everything, that I'm not going to jar or go faster than I need to going down. And so, and just even sometimes walking straight in front of me, the having the stability the of these hiking poles symbolically for me is a lot like leaning on God. And maybe part of me, even just thinks about Moses had he had a staff. So why do we have this? And I'm really talking about me, is that I was okay. Have been okay with leaning on my hiking poles as dependents and not falling, because I know that I'm a fall risk. And these poles represent freedom for me to be able to move through life, one foot in front of the other. Does that make sense? I mean, I hope you guys are listening and get this, that um, sometimes having a pole in life is what we need to feel that freedom to move one foot in front of the other and let God show us that we can move. So my evolution that I was really proud of myself for And it was when I got into town, because I, was on firmer ground than the trail through most of the Camino that I was on. I closed it up, and I carried my poles, and that felt like a huge victory to me. I didn't get into the video on it, when I was going through the euphoria of finishing the Camino and going into Santiago. But that was my personal victory, that I, connected the dots, that I had evolved in being able to hike without without having my poles fully extended, uh, like I did last year. And that was just a huge growth for me, not just physically, but mentally. And I'm guessing spiritually as well, because that euphoria y'all saw, that's that was the behind the scenes stuff that I had allowed myself to not feel like I had to only lean on the poles, but it was the baby steps of going through it that allowed me the freedom to be able to keep moving. So, uh, so there's that connection between going from physical pain to some of that mental pain. Oh, and I haven't even got into that, because I was in a lot of physical pain on the whole trip. My one piece of equipment that I needed to work the most were my shoes, and I had bought new shoes for the trail, and the inserts were not working for my not working very well for my arches. And man, I was in so much pain. Don't think I didn't think about quitting, but I had some good personal cheerleaders that I you know that I didn't want to disappoint, that I had cheering me on, and just meant a lot that I could do it. And the encouragement was there that I needed. And I'm very thankful. So, what else? Oh, my other good piece of equipment that I had were these great, these are the, winter gaiters or rain gaiters. You wear them. Let's see. There we go. You wear them strapped on. There we go. Uh, your foot and your shoes right here, so the strap goes up underneath. And some people wear them in snow. I went ahead and washed them because they'd got really nasty, but these were a lifesaver. I wore leggings, and it was handy to have the pockets on the sides for my phone and my wallet, and those leggings. So that eliminated the need for wearing rain pants. Otherwise, I had my poncho. That was the other goof that I had. I snagged the wrong poncho. I brought the fun poncho instead of the other poncho out of my AT bag that goes over the backpack. So I had all of this, my poncho was just flat. I might as well just not even been wearing the poncho. And then until I got into my lead, and that's where I met Marianne and Robin, because we had the same issue. We all needed ponchos, and so we were like the three amigos wearing red ponchos on the trail for a while. And that was a huge game changer, because otherwise my other poncho I had to wear underneath my backpack and carry all that extra rain weight on the front. It was not very fun, but so managing pain is a big deal. And from uh, when I come back from this little video clip, then we'll talk into some of the spiritual side of it. Okay, so we'll be right back.
Rock on gold dust woman, take your silver spoon to your dream. Heartless challenge, pick your pipe and I'll pray. Wake up in the morning, see your sun must love to go down. Lousy lovers pick the prey, but they never cry out loud. Cry out. Cry out. Did she make you cry? Make you break down? Shatter your illusions of love? And is it over now? Do you know how to pick up the pieces and go home?
All right. Thank you for coming back. This is Eva Fulton, and this is the From Pain to Purpose radio show. I have been covering the topic of my post Camino recap, and I played that video for a reason, because I wanted to, really cover that a lot of us are all on a spiritual journey, whether we think we are or not, that there is a lot of spiritual warfare going on. And sometimes you just have to break away from, um, you know, some of the stuff that's out there. And sometimes getting that reset on a place like the Camino is where you can really get your grounding. And this particular picture is on the way to Finisterre, and that is what people knew back then as the end of the earth, as they know it. So, I kept in my head thinking as we were taking the bus up there, because I had took a bus trip the day after I arrived at Santiago. Took this bus trip that was super, super good. The lady really gave a lot of good history. And I've got to do some research about a new apostle that I had never heard of. Um, Justin Shades. I'm not sure who Justin Shades is. Who's Justin Shades? Um, has anybody else heard of a Apostle Santiago? This lady, the the tour guide, that's what she's called, sorry, the tour guide was mentioning Apostle Santiago. So I've got to do some research. But so there was plenty of lore and history in that whole area. And so I had in my head, it's the end of the world as we know it. I just had that song I was singing in my head, going to Finisterre. But I wanted to show this. Why is this picture not coming up? It won't. I want to take that one down. And that is Santiago. So, obviously I was very pleased that I made it there. Numbers of miles to get there on what I hiked was about 127 miles. I didn't know I had that in me, so that was the other part of the euphoria, and why y'all saw me crying, and my feet are still healing. I think my hips are still healing. That I had walked 127 miles, and to think back from just a few years ago, that would have been impossible for me. I mean, between the back and everything, I didn't, how I'm one of those people, I'm always setting my bar higher and higher. Now I'm thinking, man, what is higher for me on this? I mean, I already claimed Mont Blanc, but maybe I've got to readjust and figure out if the knee braces are going to work again, or do I need knee surgery first. The VA so far has not been wanting to do the knee surgery, so I don't know, I'm gonna have to use insurance something, because I love getting out there and moving, and I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna keep, keeping the bar high. And I wanted to bring this one, so this view, this was the very first day, as so I told you I stayed at the hotel in Astorga, and got dropped off with the taxi at Foncebedon. And this was the view I had. These were the mountains that I had seen on the bus going to Astorga. So this neat conversation that I had with God on the very first day was, "You're chasing mountains." So that's going to be the name of my new book. I don't know if y'all missed that, maybe in one of the in one of my videos, but this was what I saw. And it just captivated me, and God just talked to me so much on this whole spiritual journey. That's what it's really supposed to be about. The pilgrims, the peregrinos, from way back the centuries. You even think about Jesus and the way they had talked, the apostles walking through the Bible, Moses walking through the Bible, all these different characters walking through the Bible. Some of them, they were searching for something, right? Some of them were trying to, do some penance. There is some history that part of the Camino de Santiago, people go on it for penance. But the Knights Templar, you'll see plenty of, Knights Templar stuff along the Camino as well. A lot of blonde haired, blue eyed, because a lot of them transplanted from Europe, from, uh, all those northern areas. And, some of them were kilts. And so it's just kind of a neat area to go to. It's not uncommon to go into a cafe and you're hearing Scottish music, and the bagpipe that I played for you guys, excuse me, welcoming you into Santiago is is part of that history of the culmination. But I also learned as I was on different areas that sometimes that mountain that you see over there is somebody else's mountain. It wasn't mine. And so we have, I don't know if that makes sense if I'm explaining it right, but that's part of something I'm going to be writing in the book, is to, you know, we all have our own paths. We're at different stages on our mountains. There are obviously valleys as well. And, finding your pain to purpose is really a part of your journey, and exploring, where you're at on your mountain versus your valley. And honestly, going downhill is harder to me than it is going uphill. Let me climb, let me keep climbing, let me keep climbing. Going downhill is harder than going uphill. And obviously, we always want the flats, but there is a journey in that I actually prefer rocky paths than the asphalt, because that pounding flat asphalt hurts your feet. But the rocks actually massage your feet even through the soles of your shoes. So, anyways, it was an incredible journey. If anybody is interested in, um, putting together your own, I would not recommend it so far this year. A lot of the Facebook groups that are committed to the Camino, this is the year of the Jubilee. And of course, the Pope has not been doing well. Uh, Most of the places are going to be fully packed, so I wouldn't book anything this year on the Camino. But next year would probably be way more viable. So if you're interested, I'm not claiming to be any kind of expert. I've only been on the last section really twice now. But I have, learned a lot, and navigating plane, train. No, I haven't done train yet. Plane, bus, taxi, understand the language pretty decent. So if there's anything I can help with, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at eva@mbradio.us. And I will go ahead and close out until next week. See you guys. I'm sure I'll have a guest. I have plenty of people that I've been reaching out to before the trip. So hope y'all have a great first week of April. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, buen camino.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.